Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, as the case may be. Sir or madam, as the case may also be. And who would know that better than you? It's another edition of Conversation Collage, and I'm Ken Johannesson, and my case is hopefully up for arbitration soon, and if not, then it'll be going up before a judge. But enough about that. And coming up on our program today, we will talk about the 103rd anniversary of the National Park Service, and how a lot of us are kind of, as they say, loving our parks to death and not taking very good care of them, and a way to fix that. We'll have that coming up a little later on. But first, we'll talk about doctors and physicians. It is estimated that by the year 2032, the United States will face a shortage of physicians. And according to some estimates, it could be as high as 122,000 physicians in both primary and specialty care. And at the same time, the number of cancer cases in this country is expected to rise by 45%. Amid this growing healthcare crisis, physicians educated at foreign medical schools who come to the United States to train are fulfilling a critical need. And we talked about that with Dr. William Pinsky, who's president and CEO of the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates, or ECFMG. And we also talked with Dr. Beatrice Wills, who's a native of Colombia, who has trained in the United States for 3 years now. And we talked about the physician shortage and also what foreign medical schools are doing about it. Hello, Dr. Pinsky. Hello, Dr. Wills. How are you both today?
We're great. How are you way out west?
Way out west. We're doing fine. And I take it you're way out east?
We are probably exactly opposite from where you are. We're in New York.
Bad news, a shortage of physicians by the year 2032. How is this happening? Medicine and healthcare is a growing field, I thought. I can't understand why there's a shortage of physicians, or there will be.
Sure. Well, healthcare certainly is a growing industry. No doubt about it. The shortage is really multifactorial. I think that we've done a good job in the last decade or so in increasing the number of both allopathic and osteopathic medical schools in the United States, as well as increasing the class sizes. However, at the same time, people like me, baby boomers, are getting older and requiring more health care. And as a result of that, the demand has gone up, and although the supply has been increasing, not at the same rate as the demand. And that's why we're seeing these projections of a significant deficit in physicians. So yes, the supply is going up, but not at the same rate as the demand, and the demand is going up partly because of the aging population.
Are we talking here, when we say physicians, are we talking about general physicians like, Dr. Welby and things like that? Is that kind of what we're talking about, rather than a specialist in oncology or osteopathy or anything like that?
Right. So you bring up Dr. Welby because I mentioned I was a baby boomer, and I would actually know whom you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dr. Wills knows who you're talking about.
Actually.
Dr. Marcus Welby was a very popular TV show in the 1970s with Robert Young. Dr. Marcus Welby. Yeah.
That's right, and his young assistant that was with him.
Yeah, who's James Brolin, as a matter of fact. So are we talking about GPs here? That's what the shortage is going to be?
We're talking about all of the above.
Oh.
So clearly primary care physicians, no doubt about it, but also specialist physicians as well. I don't have the exact numbers, but the last I recall is we have a significant shortage of general surgeons, for that matter. So it goes across specialties. And again, the numbers have to do with access. How long should somebody wait to get a doctor's appointment? Or how long should somebody wait to have a procedure done? And if we're talking about, what we would consider optimal time for both, then we have a shortage.
Let's talk about the role of international medical graduates in healthcare. What role are they playing?
Sure. So even before this announced shortage, international medical graduates have played a significant role in the healthcare delivery in the United States since World War II. In fact, if we look at the number of licensed physicians, which is plus or minus around 1 million in the United States right now, a quarter of those have gone to medical school outside of the United States or Canada. And so for quite a while, we have been depending on importing. So we are a net importer of physicians to this country.
Are those students getting the type of education that they need to do what's needed here?
Right. So it's a good question. And the background of these students in terms of their medical school is very important, which is why at ECFMG, we verify their credentials of where they've come from. But also, even to qualify to get into a residency program, they need to pass the United States Medical Licensing Exam, which is the same rigorous examination that U.S. medical students need to take. And then, they would interview for programs like the U.S. Students would as well. So from a qualifications perspective, it's very comparable.
ECFMG, for those who didn't hear earlier, the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. Dr. Wills, I didn't mean to ignore you here, but I just wanted to set the groundwork with Dr. Pinsky here. You came from Colombia, huh?
Yes, that's right.
What brought you to the United States?
Training. I really wanted to pursue the best possible medical education. I grew up in Bogota, Colombia, but I quickly knew that I wanted to be the best possible physician and now oncologist, and I knew it was here in the United States where I could meet amazing mentors and I would have access to technologies and really high-quality care, medical education, and provide the best care to my patients.
Why oncology?
I decided oncology after my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. I built a really strong relationship with my father's oncologist. He introduced me to this beautiful field where I satisfy my scientific curiosity and have so endless world of research behind cancer, and also have very strong relationships with my patients who have cancer.
So, Dr. Pinsky, where does ECFMG come into play with, say, Dr. Wills and others who want to pursue medical training?
So we're the agency that was founded 60 years ago to be the sole organization that confirms the credentials of individuals who wish to come to the United States to further their medical education and training. We're a nonprofit, non-governmental agency, and we do primary source verification on the identity of the individual, their medical school diploma and transcript, and then enroll them into to be able to take the medical licensing exam to which I referred earlier. We receive about 20,000 applications a year, and it takes about 3 years for an individual like Dr. Wills. I think she actually completed it a little bit earlier than that, to get through the process of the verification and exams. And so it's a very arduous, difficult procedure for the applicants, but something that's necessary. And ECFMG can then assure the public that the physicians that we're allowing in are the ones that should be here. We also sponsor the J1 visa for those individuals who do get into a residency training program. And this is a cultural exchange visa, and the U.S. State Department has recognized us as the sole agency to sponsor physicians for the J1 visa.
Dr. Pinsky, if you're not governmental and nonprofit, who supports you?
So our revenue primarily comes from the applicants for ECFMG certification. There's an application fee, and then fees for the examinations. We also have some other activities we do. We do similar work for 19 other medical regulatory authorities around the world for verifying credentials physicians of other going into other countries as well.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Wills, tell me about your training. What have you, your experience as a graduate here in the United States? How has it been?
It has been fantastic. The last 3 years have been one of the best of my life. I've had the opportunity of meeting fantastic mentors and colleagues who are now my friends. I've been very privileged of taking care of patients, both inpatients and outpatients, and I'm looking forward for the next steps in my career. Next week I'm starting my fellowship at Memorial Sloan.
What's your ultimate goal? Do you want to return to Colombia and practice there, or do you want to stay in the U.S.?
Yes, I'm sponsored right now by a J1 visa. So I'm completing my training in 3 years, and then hopefully I will contribute what I've learned and my expertise to Colombia.
Mm-hmm. How is the cancer, thinking of oncology, how is the cancer system down there in Colombia?
Just like here, there's also a shortage of oncologists and physicians in Colombia. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research background and profit or time or interest in research, but I think it's also a growing field. Worldwide, cancer is growing, so Colombia also needs physicians in training and cancer doctors down there.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Pinsky, I know I'm coming up on time. What have we missed? Is there anything we need to get out to people?
Well, I think just reassurance to the public that they may not realize the kind of process that international medical graduates go through, and reassuring the public that these are extremely qualified individuals. And in fact, for the public to understand that to maintain their usual access to health care, we're dependent on having international medical graduates coming here. There's been a lot of rhetoric about people from outside the country taking jobs away from Americans. That's not the case when we're talking about physicians. We definitely have a capacity issue. We need more. And so that's not a problem here.
Now, does that bring a problem with trying to get medical graduates here with this kind of thought about immigrants taking jobs away? Does that cause some hardships for you?
Well, we certainly go out of our way to explain what this situation is, and it's not like the tech industry where questions have been raised, and so it's very important for us to be able to get the message out, and because the more we can make people aware of this, the more people will understand that this is not a threat. International medical graduates actually are an opportunity for us.
Then how do you get that to the government who handles the J1 visa process? Then because
right,
that's kind of the big issue. That's who you should be talking to.
Exactly, and we are. The public certainly have an influence as well. But we work very closely with the Department of State. The Department of State understands the situation and works with us. And then we have other efforts to talk to people in the other branches and sections of branches in the government. So whatever decisions they make will be informed decisions.
Dr. Pinsky, where can we find out more?
I think going to our website is a good idea, www.ecfmg.org. Lots of information there.
There we go. Dr. Pinsky, Dr. Wills, I know I have to let you go, but I thank you for a few minutes out, and best to you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. William Pinsky, President and CEO of the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. Dr. Beatrice Wills, a native of Colombia who has been training in the United States in oncology since 2016. If you want to know more, you go to their website at ecfmg.org. ecfmg.org. Conversation Collage continues. We are coming to you from the apple capital of the world and the buckle of the power belt of the great Northwest. It is Wenatchee, Washington is where we're coming to you from. And we are available on the podcast platform that you are getting this on, be it iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, YouTube, iHeart, and also on Instagram. You can find us there. And also